some old flathead turns, and I thought 18, 18. A stock one seemed like to me was 19 or 20, and I don't know, but I know one thing: the miles per hour is going to be I bet it's 10 miles better at the upper end than whatever they was turning.
Harper come in and just look there in that hole.
Yeah, I kind of like to know what this is in the miles per hour. And
you're gonna get a good once over on this one.
Yeah, I don't have much of a boost gauge. I just got an old fuel pump gauge there, and I use that fuel pump.
Oh yeah.
See over there.
Just an old test gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of them laying on the shelf somewhere.
Well, yeah. Whenever I hook this all up, and everything, well, the boost won't come on, just idling.
Yeah.
But when you get to going, and then of course in every gear, why it picks up, and
well,
as you're going in high, well then she starts picking up, and when it passes down there where it used to be, and because it sits right now, this one's well, you see this one's sitting on about 2 pounds now of vacuum, or 2 inches of vacuum, but when this starts the other way, and this here gets up to here, where this gets up into about the let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it gets up to this red part here, when this end of the needle gets up here,
yeah,
you're ready to move them. You're ready to go. That old motor ready to hammer.
Putting out small block Chevy power by the time he gets up there.
Yeah, that's what it runs like. It runs like a small block Chevy. I put one in an old Ford one time, and I got an issue of Hot Rod in 1956, January I think of 56, and it shows a 41 Ford truck just like this, and the guy says, look here, 55 Chevy they're putting in this old 41 Ford truck, and the guy they put in about a half-inch plate behind the engine and between the transmission, and they use this old Mercury bell housing on the
Chevy engine, yeah,
engine there, and bolted to this, and bolted to this old type transmission. Well, I thought, boy, that's going way back, because I remember when we used to put them in like that, make that. Yeah, that's the only adapters that we had at that time. And
then you could really break parts.
Yeah.
Regulations.
I put this Chevy engine in this 32 Ford Roadster, and just, boy, I'd rip out the transmission one right out of it. So I couldn't run it that way, and I always tearing out low gear, so I started running it to second and high only with these slicks, and it had a 444 rear end. It had a 60 type V8 rear end. 444, and I run second high, and it did pretty good. That 2 gears, it wasn't what I wanted, and I couldn't. It seemed like 4 speeds was so scarce and so hard to get. And 59, 58, 59, they just started coming out. 57, some. Well, I always raced on kind of a small scale. That was kind of, didn't have too much anyway. So,
whatever you could scrounge out of the junkyard, about what you had to run.
And I didn't get married till I was about 61, and I kept thinking about it.
Hell, no wonder you could get all this playing done.
After my own heart
here. I was 37 years old before I ever got married, and then 40 years old before I ever had any kids.
Jiminy, I tell you, it's not often you run into a smart man,
What way to do it.
Well, what was the bad part though, I had a 57 Chevrolet at that time, and I put this 292 Chevy engine in it, and it had, I had about 11 and a half to 1 pistons in it. I had some QRW pistons in it, and I had the old Untoff cam, which was a great cam for stick shifts. I don't care whatever you say. But and I picked up a fuel injection off a 57 Corvette and put on this whole car. Took it to the races out here, and I was running with a 3-speed transmission. I was running 1419. This whole 292 full old 4-door hardtop, what that Chevy was, and I run old guy Bob Castle up at Newton, and he had a 2-door, but he had a 4-speed, and the guy passed me from when he go to second, you know, when he
Big
went
jump.
to second. But I beat him out of the hole, and if I'd had a 4-speed, I believe I could have beat that guy because he was turning 1395 or something like that. And, what he was. But I thought my old engine run better than his did because we had the identical type engines. We both of us running fuel injection. But I had put that on a Corvette. I had a 60 Corvette and sold it. And my boy said, "Dad, why do you sell all that stuff?" You know, he was born in '65, so I said, "I don't know."
What year did you buy the Corvette? 60.
I bought that Corvette. I give a '62 Plymouth Sport Fury Golden Commando, and I bought it in '63 or '64, and it was, and I gave $400 on this Plymouth for this Corvette, and it had dual 4s and a power glide in it when I bought it, and I took out the power glide and put in a 3-speed.
Was that Plymouth a big black 318?
Oh no, this was 361 cubic inch. It was, I think it's a bigger block than that. Same thing, about the same block as a 383.
A little different back then. I'm not sure on how all that was. Well, you wasn't impressed with that Corvette, the 60 Corvette?
Oh yeah, it's good, but you know, I can't read the crystal ball. Can't yet today.
Oh, nobody. Wish we could, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you know. Oh yeah, you know. Well, you know.
How old was you when you had that Corvette?
Oh, let's see, I had to be.
Well, out of control.
I had to be 40, probably 45 when I got rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 68 now. 68. I've been retired about 6 years now.
You ever gonna quit this?
Oh no, I'll go on out dying this way.
Yeah, it's real good to meet you.
Bill Gardner.
Ed Truman.
I know you, Ed.
Hey, you're from around here?
Yeah, I live here in this town.
In town?
Yeah. Wichita, yeah.
Oh, we
I'm
really
in the
like
phone
your
book. I'm out the last gardener and the gardeners.
there,
Yeah.
huh?
I'm part German, part Dutch, everything.
Part engineer there too,
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
Well, German and Dutch, pretty intermittent.
Yeah, I've been a manufacturing engineer for 35, 40 years. 40 years, really. I worked at Beach. I used to be a tool and die maker,
Yeah.
machinist. I have a lot of trades. I could go to work, you know, for
We
probably
can
20
tell
bucks an hour.
that you know what works.
This guy's built go-karts. This is what I always say about those engineers when I have to work behind them. This guy never built go-karts.
Well,
Yeah, this guy is played.
He's got
some guy said, looked at that and said, well, you must be pretty smart to do that. And I said, well, my IQ is above average. My wife used to say, just think I was so dumb, you know, and we both took an IQ test one time, and
Uh-oh.
mine was 24 points higher than my wife's.
Uh-oh.
So I don't let her
Never
live it
heard
down.
no more about that. You don't bring that up.
Well, you ever gonna paint it or just gonna run it?
Sure, I'm going to paint it. No kidding. I
He's
thought I
gonna
was
ruin it,
paint
Ed.
this
He's gonna
year.
put
See,
color
now we
to it.
talk about this a lot. If you
Well,
ever
yeah,
paint-
you know. Listen, guys, you know what happens when you get old, you know, you find all these things out. Just like about 11 weeks. See, I put this on there. I started putting this on 11 weeks ago.
Oh, really? This
Yeah.
is brand new experiment here.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
bought that at main part of that. I bought it at a garage sale. The lady had $5 on it.
Didn't even know. $5.
Oh.
$5 at a garage sale, and I said, "Lady, I'll give you $1 for that." And she said, "I'll take it.
Just get it out of here.
I'll take it."
Oh.
And I don't know where the rest of it was, you know. And then so I thought, boy, this is great, you know. I'm getting all this thing here, and so I turned it, and it turned okay, and went back and forth. And so I went up to the library and started checking these over. But what information I could get on it, it said, well, stick a dial indicator through there or through this drain hole and check it, and if it's over 6,000 coming up and down play, you'll need to replace the shaft and the bearings, and the end play can only be 3,000. And so
Yeah.
this was a good one. This was a good one, but when I put this all together and put it on and fired it up, smoke all over the neighborhood. It wasn't working. The oil holes were stopped up in it, and it just wasn't working. The turbocharger wasn't working. And I said, well, I know why the guy got rid of it there. So I took it all apart, and I was scared to death I'd break that shaft. A little bit of shaft in there, but I took the nut off, but I got it all apart. And they just found out it's dirty. And the guy, I went out to the air research place that sells these, and they said, we'll send your unit in. They call it the center rotating housing assembly. We'll send you another one rebuilt.
Common
$400. $400. Well, I'm in this thing for $1, and I'm going to see if I can. Yeah, I called all over, and I found a K-15 salvage. Said, well, we got some old parts down here off a turbocharged Pontiac. And I went and looked at them, and I had the exhaust pipe and stuff, and they had the part of a Buick in there. So I got it, and after I got the part off of the Buick, he had this wastegate, $20. Let me have it. Got it, and I bought them pipes for. So I made my own manifold to fit on it because I didn't have one that holds a carburetor. So I made my own manifold and put the old Ford 2-barrel on there and ground it out and cut it out with a torch and fixed it all up and got it running. And but so then I took this turbocharger apart and found out it's just stopped up and the oil hole stopped up.
Forcing the oil past the seals and
cleaned it. Didn't get no new parts, no nothing. Just cleaned it, put it back on there, changed the oil again, and fired it up. No smoke. I said, "This is utopia."
Still got it.
Yeah.
I'm into this for $1.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Man. Yeah. It runs.
Hey, crank that camera on here.
Our crank.
you don't get much turbo winding noise.
You don't get any until you change gears, and then it goes.
Then she really loads up and
Yeah, it goes.
Let's pull him.
Well, I'm just like everybody else. I kind of like to brag a little bit too, but you know, I am putting out the word that this is the fastest old flathead. 85 horsepower. I don't care what you got on it. You know, if you've got it in a full-bodied car about like this here, this will beat it. Now you can spread that. I don't care.
You bet.
we'll be heading out here at 2:35 after bed.
I'll be out there looking at that.
Well, I don't know. You know, there's some guys got some pretty good old full-head flat houses.
I'd just about say that with that setup on it, you'd stand a better chance of living. You know, well, keeping the RPMs down, where these
Yeah.
other guys, they got to have big cam, big carburetor, and wind the heck
Yeah,
out of it to
pop
get any
it.
power out of it.
Yeah,
That
they
thing's
may
gonna.
have a little more off the line too. I didn't know this here had anything off the line anymore because I never did get on it. I didn't want to tear up the transmission, and I remembered what happened to some of that when I put a shiv in and some of them old.
Yeah, I forgot that noise, scrunch.
Thing to tear out the low gear, you know, and so I haven't been trying to step on it, but I have stepped on it a couple of times, and boy, that rear tire, I laid down 12 foot of rubber the other day. And, but I don't know, that's just an old 3 1/16 bore. It's probably bored, I think the blocks that it was a reconditioned Ford, and it was about 30 or 40 over, something like that. They bored it.
So it's not the original engine from the truck.
No, the original engine was a 6-cylinder in this truck.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. 41 was first year for 6 cylinders.
Oh,
And they also made a 4-cylinder in that same year. About like a Model A.
Oh, no, they made one there.
Yeah, 41 Ford had a 4-cylinder, had some trucks that had 4-cylinder engines in them. Just about like a B model engine. About like it was in the old, yeah, about like an old
What's
B
the
engine.
vintage on this flathead?
Huh?
What year is this flathead?
This here, come out of a 40 Ford car. I had a 40 Ford.
40.
Yeah.
so it's the right.
See, that's what you was
Yeah.
talking about.
Look at the
before.
ignition.
It's
That gets you in the right area. You know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
Normally, when you look in there, you see a modern style distributor sticking up because that's
Oh,
your,
yeah.
your
Well,
better
yeah.
motor.
This is a 40 and 41. Had the same type of distributor. They all had 3 1/16 bore and 85 horsepower. Some of them say 90 or something like that, but I don't think so. Most all of them, 40 and 41, they didn't go to a 3 3/16 bore until about 42. They had 100 horse then, and this is the 40 Ford pickups and the 40 Ford standard cars all had the same grill, fenders type thing. They was a little bit different. The way the fenders are bent here at the back on a car, they stick in and go like that, but same fender. And the hoods are not the same though. These are about an inch taller.
Oh,
These are about an inch taller. They
I didn't realize all that.
the difference between the 40 and 41 is this big wide strip here on the 41, and these two things here where 40 had a little bitty chrome strip here. I've got 40 at home. It's in the garage. It's going to probably put some General Motors parts on it, but when I got this, it had a 6-cylinder engine in it, and somebody put a 47 Ford rear end in it, and it was about that far too forward back. And it was a terrible rear end. It was worn out, or something was wrong with it too. And I remember in the old engine, the 6-cylinder engine must have a whole bunch of miles on it or something. It had been neglected, and it was noisy. It was the bearings was noisy, and I didn't want to rebuild it. And I had this 44, so I just took the engine and transmission and put in here, and then I had to change everything. The brakes was bad. Everything was bad on this truck. I mean, you know, it was graveyard dead.
Wore out like it was 60 years old, huh?
Yeah, that's right. It was really bad. The brakes was all terrible bad. The master cylinder was bad. Had to do that. The gas tank was bad. Some guy said, "Are you going to restore?" And I said, "I've already restored it a long way." Well, I intended to have it a little better shape when I brought it out this time, but like I say, 11 weeks ago, I found this turbocharger, and I thought, I've got to put that on there. I know it'll fit. It just will go under the hood, and so I immediately went home and started getting parts for it or something.
What was that turbo originally offered?
About a 81 or Buick, 80 or 81 Buick.
That V6?
Yeah,
Yeah, setup?
yeah, 230. What is it, 231?
Yeah, something like that. So
231 cubic inches. Well, this is 221 if they're stock. So I thought, boy, that's the
pretty close.
ideal situation. And this has only got 6.7 compression ratio, where the Buick's got about 8 something. And I don't know how much a Buick's got, 8 or 9 or something. But they have that knock sensor that works on that sits in the block, and so when it's knocking a little bit, why it jerks the timing back.
there's an audio sensor in there, huh? Like a
Yeah.
sound does. Or,
Yeah. Well, I thought I don't need no knock sensor. Don't hear too good anyway, but I'm gonna hear it maybe knock if it's knocking that loud, you know. But
Well, some
I
good
never
fuel.
could hear this thing knock. I don't care where I put the timing. And
We think you got a good, neat truck here.
Yeah,
Good talking to you too. We look forward to
Okay.
seeing you again.
okay, all right, guys.
And it's only got a single flywheel.